Peace and blessings, family. What's up with all the daydreamers out there? Please live it. Don't sleep through this thing. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Mugs and Conversations. It's been a minute since I did that introduction. Let's get into this conversation, shall we? So I've been revisiting the book of Deuteronomy, and it's amazing what you learn and what you read and what you see when you just slow down, you take the time, and you read. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, bada, 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 boom, right? It's amazing what you learn when you just slow down and you read. And in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses is going to die. And so this is Moses's farewell speech. It's his reiteration of the law for the children of Israel as they get prepared to cross over cross the Jordan over into the land that was promised to them through their forefathers. He also gives warnings. And I've set before you life and death, blessings and curses. He gives them some final warnings that they need to heed and everything like that. But I want to focus at the beginning of Deuteronomy, right? Because he mentions something that we know about, but then he starts to talk about other things that I myself did not know about because I haven't really slowed down to read it. So this is some of the things that he mentions. Number one, he lets us know that was an 11-day journey from Mount Sinai to the land of Canaan. What you think about that? An 11-day, a 2-week journey that turned into a 40-year punishment, a 40-year wandering, as we like to put it, right? And they made it there that 11-day journey. They actually made it. They're at the border. And then they send out spies. They send out spies into the land to look at it. But then they don't go into the land to possess it. Why? Because those 12 spies, or at least 10 of them, 2 of them was ready to go. 10 of them was some cowards. They lacked faith, and they weren't ready to go. They gave a bad report to the camp, to the nation, to the people. And they was like, nah, we're not going because these were grasshoppers in their sight. They started looking at themselves as being mediocre. They forgot about all the great things that the Lord has done for them and that the Lord was with them because they saw an enemy or an obstacle or something that was there that was just greater than them in their eyes, right? That's how they saw themselves. Well, God was like, I bet it up then. This generation that refuses to go in there and actually take the land as I promised them and as I've instructed them to, they will die in the wilderness. They will not enter into that land of rest. However, the generation after them will go in. So the generation that's going to die in the wilderness is like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, whoa, let go into that promised land right now. Let's go now. We can take it. We can do it. Now, all of a sudden, they're not scared because they've heard the warning and the punishment that was going to come upon them. Okay, bet it up then. Let's go. Moses tells them, though, don't go because the Lord is not with you. Well, they go anyways, and they suffer defeat. And now they're stuck wandering in the wilderness, all because they refuse to follow the instructions of the Lord. But that's not the part that I want us to focus on. There's a lesson in that. There's a lesson in the reality of them making that short journey of 11 days, 2 weeks, bruh. And they made it right there at the border of it, but refusing to go, being told they was going to die. And because they was told they was going to die because of the refusal to go, they all of a sudden want to now go, but the Lord ain't with them. They're told the Lord's not with them, but they still do it anyways, and then they find themselves defeated in battle and now tuck tail running right back to the camp and having to deal with wandering in the desert for 40 years, dealing with the fact that this is their punishment for refusal to obey God. That's not the part I want us to focus on. The part I want us to focus on a little bit more is what comes after all that. Moses ends up telling the people he's recounting. He's recanting the events that have occurred in their lives. But mind you, remember, they refused to go into the land that was to be given to them. So God ends up taking them into land that has been given to somebody else, but not to them. Think about it. They spend a great portion of those 40 years wandering in other people's land that will not be theirs. They end up in one set of land, and God tells them, this doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Esau. They end up in another set of land, and he ends up telling them, it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Lot. They end up in another set of land. It doesn't belong to you, it belongs to this person that I've given it to. I was going to give you something, but since you don't want to have it, you're too scared to obtain it, I'm going to show you the other things that I've done for other people, and you're going to wonder in their promise, and you're going to die in their promise. That's wild. That's wild to me. You're not only going to witness what I've given them, but you're going to die slowly but surely going in this circle in a land that doesn't belong to you. So the question is, how does this apply to us in the body of Christ? I'm glad you asked. Watch this. In the body of Christ, our promise is the second coming of Jesus Christ. I go to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Jesus has gone to prepare a place for us, and he said he will return to take us to that place, right? That's our ultimate promise. We are in a wilderness right now, which is the world. We're in the world, but we're not of the world. And what's sad is we're preaching and teaching, and I blame the pulpit for this. We're preaching and teaching more about a temporary state of being, and a temporary state of blessing, and a temporary state of overflow, a temporary state of gain, a temporary state of purpose, a temporary state of some vague promise, rather than the actual written and spoken promise of Jesus Christ, the promise to obtain and cross over into that promised land, into that true rest that he's gone to prepare for us. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. One day he'll beckon me to heaven's open shores, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. The reason why God was showing them all these other lands is so that they could realize and recognize, and this is now, let me say this. This is what I think. He was showing them all those other lands that did not belong to them, and was specifically letting them know who they belonged to. So number one, the generation that refused can see what they was going to miss out on, can see what they should have had, can see what they should have obtained. This was a greater blessing, a greater land, a land flowing of milk and honey. This was supposed to be a land that was supposed to be better than all the other ones, and it was for them, but they're traveling in lands that belong to other people when they could have had their own. Number two is to let the other generation hopefully know that, look, unless you want this same punishment, do not do the same thing that that your mother, your father, or this generation rather has done. Rather, when it's time to go, cross over. Because you don't want to be sitting here in something that doesn't belong to you, that is supposed to be just a temporary movement from point A to point B. This world is a temporary movement from point A to point B, and the church has forgotten about it. And what we have done, we gotten people more excited about what they get in the wilderness that doesn't belong to them than what is actually promised for us beyond these shores. So how do we do that? Y'all know my answer. It's been the same answer since I've been doing this. Let's get back to the gospel. Much love and respect. Y'all be safe out there, man. This your boy Sleep. Peace.